I would say probably in 2003, I want to say, I was watching CNN. And there was a story about clergy abuse. And, you know, out of the corner of my eye, I remember turning and just watching, and I was so shocked to hear now that there were these men coming forward that had been sexually abused by priests. And I was stunned. I had never heard of anyone else other than myself. I had never thought that there was anyone else other than myself that had gone through the same situation. So then I was left with not knowing what to do with this new information, and I kept it inside. And then little by little I started seeing it more and more on TV. And then one day I remember my father calling me up and telling me to put on ABC News. And I turned on the news, and Keith Pecklers had now become a priest, and he was Father Keith Pecklers, and he had become the ABC News correspondent for Vatican Affairs. And he was talking about the new pope that was being elected at that time, and how they were waiting for the white smoke or whatever. And I can remember being fixated on the screen watching him, knowing that he had abused me, he had groomed me, and he had tried to murder me in a way. That's how I felt. I felt like it was almost soul murder. And here I am now watching him on TV, and he had become the world's foremost authority on the Catholic liturgy. He had written 6 or 7 books, and he was a professor of theology at the Gregorian Pontifical in Rome now. So I was just infuriated that he had been able to go on with his life. And it made me wonder how many other kids had possibly been abused by him or by priests like him. So in 2008, approximately 32 years after my abuse, I wanted to do something about it. And I had called my brother, who's an attorney, and I said, Bill, you know, what can I do? And he said, you can't do anything. The statute of limitations is 2 years. So your statute of limitations had run out 30 years ago. There's nothing you can do about it. I said, I believe differently. So find me an attorney who deals in this. And he did, and he found me an attorney in Margate, New Jersey. And I remember thinking, what the hell kind of attorney is going to be in Margate that's going to have any knowledge of this? But he called him up, and Steve Rubino said, come on down and let me talk to your brother at least. There's probably nothing we can do because the statute of limitations had run out. But let's see, you know, let me have a conversation with him. So I can remember when we went down past Atlantic City, we went into Margate, and I went in a suit and a tie, and when I started talking to Steve, it was obvious that I could remember every single detail, every moment of abuse that happened to me. And I laugh now because, you know, one of the arguments that the church says as a reason for not allowing this statute to be changed is that memory gets broken, things get changed. I can assure you that if you have gone through something like I have gone through, or perhaps somebody who has gone through who's watching this, your memory does not change. It does not go away. It does not go away. So I was able to communicate every last detail. And he said to me, you know what? Let's send him a letter. Come back in 2 weeks, and would you be willing to allow me to film you and film your family? And my family was very supportive. At that point, you know, I had come out years, you know, before and let them know what had happened to me. Again, they were still very involved with the church, and you know, no one had ever come forward, and we didn't know what to do with this information at all. So we kind of just kept the lid on it. for a long time. But he ended up filming me, and we sent this 15-minute documentary to the attorneys and to Rome and to the Society of Jesus, who is who Peckler's was then a priest with. He was a Jesuit priest in Rome. And they came back after probably a week and said they wanted to have a mediation with me. And I can remember my attorney telling me, this is called the Star Chamber. You are going to be sitting at a table with probably a dozen different people, psychiatrists, priests, attorneys, and they are going to grill you over every last single question, trying to jolt your memory or prove you wrong. And again, I was able to tell them my entire story. And at the end of that 2-hour meeting, they had offered me a 6-figure settlement, which was unheard of. And it was never about the money. It was always about wanting Peckler's and Stanford to know that I never forgot what they did to me,